Does James Bradberry deserve blame for this Super Bowl loss? Now, he had a very low Pro Football Focus grade in this game, if you're into that kind of thing. Obviously, he was most known for the, the hold at the end, which we will get into and talk about if it's a good or bad play and kind of some other details about it that I think are worth noting. So that's definitely something that I find interesting. Also known for Juju Smith-Schuster making a fake Valentine about him, and then seemingly the entire Twitter world blow up over that. So a lot of stuff that he's known for now after the Super Bowl. But, I don't just look at narratives. I like to look at tape and see my opinions on, do I think he played poorly, or maybe it's had a couple of notable plays? Well, let's get into it. And let's start off with kind of the main thing that went wrong for the Eagles in this game, I would say, actually, was stuff like this, where it was really, a lot of zone busters the Chiefs ran, and it felt like the Eagles didn't have a great answer for them, and a lot of times they were in James Bradberry's area of the field, but is it Bradberry's fault, or is it someone else's fault? I'll let you be the judge, and sometimes I don't think any of us can be the judge unless we knew what the play was. But anyways, this one, it's a cover 2 zone, and you see that there's a receiver running a deep route, and the goal is to try to push Bradberry further deep here. You then have Kelsey essentially going to be running that route a little bit more clever. He's going to fake as though he's going over the middle and then get to the outside, which is going to help kind of shake away the linebackers who originally would be able to stay deep and help out Bradberry. Like, watch how when this play begins, the deep route does take Bradberry further deep. And you see right here, okay, you're not going to be able to throw it deep. However, Kelsey is wide open here. And in a perfect world, Bradberry could have, let the receiver who he's covering go further deep with the safety and come back in and cover Kelsey. That's something that he could have done. Maybe you could argue he goes a little bit too far deep on this play. I personally would sit here and say this is just a great scheme by Kansas City to fool the linebackers and not allow the linebackers to stay deep and cover Kelsey. That's kind of the way I view it. To me, this is on the linebackers, not on Bradberry. Again, I don't know exactly what was said in the coaches, in the rooms. I don't know what was said by the coaches. Maybe they told Bradberry, hey, on these plays, make sure you stay further in and cover Travis Kelsey. But he didn't even think Kelsey was going to be in that area. I have a hard time blaming him for this. To me, this is on the linebackers, but not even really on them because it was just a great scheme by Reid. However, Mahomes is then able to hit a wide open Travis Kelsey and a great tackle by Bradberry. I feel like every time I bring up this play, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good tackle by him. So he did make a good tackle on the play, but still, they were able to run these types of plays pretty consistently. Kind of an example of just what the Chiefs did well against Bradberry, even if I don't necessarily think it was entirely Bradberry's fault. Like, something like this is another example where it's going to be you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling who's running a go route. Bradberry is the one who's covering that zone closest towards the top of the screen, deep. That's where he's supposed to cover. So the route you see on the screen, MVS's route, it's just trying to push Bradberry further deep. That's all it's trying to do here. Then Juju Smith-Schuster simply runs to where Bradberry is currently standing, and you hope that that is open. That's the way this play works. As you see, you're going to see Mahomes take the snap. Mahomes fakes a throw underneath to Kadarius Toney, who's also on that side of the field. But you look over deep at Bradberry. Bradberry is staying deep with MVS. Is that the right play? I think yes, I really do. I think you can't get burned deep here. I think he's doing the right thing here. Yes, sure, maybe he could have passed him off to a safety, but, the linebacker's job is to cover Juju on this play. It's not Bradberry's job, in my opinion. The linebackers are getting fooled by, again, a very clever concept by Andy Reid, faking as though it's going to be a flip to Toney. He got them. I'm not blaming the linebackers too much. You're going up against great, play calling. You're going to get out of position. But because of all this, Mahomes throws and he's able to make a grab. Once again, Bradberry's the one who runs over and makes a tackle. And, I will say this. The safety yells at Bradberry and says, stay deep there. So he, is kind of saying, you have to stay shallower. I'll cover the deep guy. And that might be kind of a tell. Maybe the Eagles do want Bradberry to stay underneath. It's just hard to tell when I'm just sitting here in my office saying, okay, what are they doing here? Because I have seen teams do this differently. I have seen teams say, we'll take the one-on-one matchup with a safety down the field. We're okay with that. I've seen teams do the opposite and say, stay deep. We'll make sure that we double team down the field, and then we'll trust our linebackers can stay deep and cover over the middle. I think it's fair to put blame on both of them too, potentially. But the reality is, it's kind of a bigger picture story of the Eagles just weren't able to get this stuff down. To me, the biggest mistake was the hold at the end of the game. I think that this was a massive mistake. Now, again, Was it enough to warrant the flag? That's a fair question. Apparently, during the Super Bowl on the Jumbotron, they showed a replay where Bradberry was clearly holding on to the jersey of Smith-Schuster. He did hold the jersey. He definitely did. The question is, was it enough to warrant the flag? Which I still think no, although, again, I think that, I heard Colin Cowherd make a comparison that I actually agree with, which is if you're going 8 miles over the speed limit, you don't expect to get pulled over, but you could get pulled over if you're doing that. That's kind of how he viewed this play, and I think I agree. I mean, like, you see, where they are on the field. Mahomes is going to take the snap, and Bradberry, again, how much did he really slow down Smith-Schuster? I think a little bit. I don't know if that's a catch either way, but I do think he slowed him down a little bit. That's what I think. People tend to disagree with me. That's fine. We can disagree. Whatever. The reason why I think this is a blunder by Bradberry is it's not the right time to try and get away with this. I mean, he said after the game, yeah, I tried to get away with it. It's not the time for that. A touchdown is significantly better than giving up a penalty right here. A penalty is the worst case scenario because then you don't get another chance. A touchdown, while not good, you still get a chance, but now you have to score a touchdown. You want to hold him to a field goal. That obviously is a massive benefit, but you can't take the penalty there. And it was just a bad idea by Bradberry to even put himself in position to get a call like that, even if I thought it was a little weak. Also, something like this is, I think, again, another example of a miscue by Bradberry, which is fair to say. This was not a great play from him, although it's not going to end up hurting them too much, where it's going to be a zone coverage play, cover 3, one safety deep. So it's kind of a one-on-one matchup with Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the outside. Not the easiest matchup to win, and in fact, this is something I even talked about when I previewed this game, is I would be a little concerned if I was an Eagles fan with Bradberry lined up one-on-one with the speed of MVS. Bradberry not known for being the fastest corner. Look at how when this play begins, you're going to see that, Bradberry kind of turns his hips towards the middle, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do, but you're also supposed to keep the receiver closer towards the middle of the field than you are. You can't let both happen. And so at this point, when he turns back, he can't really play the ball, and this realistically should have been a big completion. For some reason, MVS is going to turn his shoulders the wrong way as well. Not the wrong way, because Bradberry didn't turn his shoulders the wrong way, but MVS did, and that resulted in it not being a catch. But that should have been a big completion right there. They should have been able to get about 40 yards on that play, and had Bradberry had a 40-yard reception given up against him in this game, I think that the perception feels even worse about him. I guess my kind of final verdict in all of this, did he have a bad day? Yeah. I mean, for someone of his standards, he's a very good corner. He's a Pro Bowl level corner. You expect him to play well. You expect him to get fooled a few times by Andy Reid. You do, but I think there was a couple times too much that he got fooled. He could have given up another big completion that he didn't, and he did commit the penalty that ended up kind of being the play of the game. So all of that combined, this was a disappointing performance from James Bradberry, who had such a good year from the Philadelphia Eagles perspective, and in a game where it was so close, you do have to wonder if he played like how he typically plays, there's a very real chance that the Eagles win this Super Bowl, which is unfortunate to think, and you can't put it all on him. It's a team sport, right? But, you expect some guys in any given day to have off nights, and he had an off night, and he picked the worst possible time to have it. That's kind of how I view it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Bradberry's performance? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.